These are 7 must-haves for designing a dog room.
The dog room. You got to see this video. It's gone viral.
I know my wife was watching the video. She's like, oh my God, I love that.
Having the sliding, multi-panel sliding doors that tuck into walls.
Hey, I saw you on YouTube and Instagram with this pull-out stair video. That went viral.
Yeah.
People loved it.
To me, that house, the front porch, just screamed inviting to me.
Unbelievable. All the little intricacies and
The selections were incredible in that home, and there's just so much great natural light.
Today we're breaking down Golden Eagle's top 10 videos of the past year. And why we're breaking it down into 10 videos, there's hundreds of great ideas for your new home. Yeah, it's been quite the year at Golden Eagle. I think we all started with number 10, would be the pool pub.
Yeah, I mean, that thing was really developed for entertaining. Customer built the house with us quite a few years ago, came back after the family got larger and just needed more space for hosting large events and stuff, and decided to build that pool pub.
Yeah, I think the cool part is that, you know, it looks like it was built when the home was originally built. I mean, we were able to get all the same products, the same siding, the same stonework, but then they put some more modern twist to it, you know, like those cool barrel timber hand-hewn trusses on the inside. We did some structural log trusses on the outside as well. And then some of those interior finishes are pretty cool too. Some of those different interior finishes turned out pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, we're probably never going to be able to have built-in motorcycle cavities throughout, you know, with glass, closed-in glass cases. So that was very unique, and you know, we're seeing so much more of that now with all of our with the homes. And people are coming up with these crazy ideas, and it's like, yeah, let's do it. We can make that happen for you.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's a heck of an opportunity, in my mind, for that owner to establish a legacy in his family, because he was a multi-year AMA hill climb champion, and it really resonates to his grandchildren probably, right? When you think about it, you look at the motorcycles, you look at the trophies, there's your grandfather. Hey, he's the AMA national hill climb champion, and it resonates to the children that anything is possible, right? Mm-hmm. You can achieve your dreams. Look around you. Here's a perfect example. I think it's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's an awesome extension of outdoor living. They have that pool there. You know, if a thunderstorm rolls in, it's a safe haven. They can dodge into the pool pub without getting water in the home. It's really a well thought out, planned area. You know, when you think about the footprint of the pool pub, there's even a greenhouse for his wife to do some gardening there.
That bar is something else. I mean, we can't not mention. I mean, I know you mentioned it right at the beginning, but that bar was just spectacular. It looks like something that was pulled right, like you said, out of an Irish pub.
Irish pub, yeah.
The detail work in that was just unbelievable. All the little intricacies, and I can't even, you know, describe all the cool things. I mean, you'll have to go and watch that video and dive deeper into that bar. It was just spectacular.
There would be no better place to watch a Packer game than that bar.
Yeah.
Well, I would debate the team, but I would agree. Good place to watch a game. You know, and it shows, the bar shows that log and timber finishes can really go with any type of wood finish, because the bar is a traditional dark cherry finish, and it goes wonderful with the timbers and the way that room is set up.
And then incorporating the brick. I mean, we don't see a ton of brick in our style of homes, but that certainly went well with that style. You know, it certainly complemented everything within that design for sure.
That's what I was going to say too, Justin, was we don't really see a lot of brick. Usually it's more stonework and stuff like that, but I thought that brick really played nice in that space.
Mm-hmm. Number 9, let's move on maybe to the new home show. We can't not mention that. That's a new platform that we launched this year. It's a podcast video platform to bring really the most innovative and freshest construction ideas to people looking to build a new home. So what we're going to do there, or what we have been doing, is bringing in industry experts to talk about their field, you know, dive deeper into their fields. And it expands beyond log and timber construction. So it's going to appeal to everybody out there. So whether you want to watch it in a video, or if you like listen to it as a podcast, you know, Spotify, whatever platform you like listening to, you can find it just about anywhere. But it's been pretty exciting and fun, that video series that we've done so far. And I'm looking forward to the guests we got coming in, looking at the guest lineup that we've got coming up for 2024. It's going to be awesome.
What I love about that podcast is that it's catered to anyone interested in building a new home, to the buyer and the buying process. There's a lot of stuff out there for contractors, do-it-yourselfers, remodels, but there's not much out there for something exclusive like this. Our guests have just been a wealth of information. Not only are we able to collaborate with what we already know, but then we're always learning something from our guests.
Right.
And they're the best at what they do. So it's great to have them join us for the show.
Yeah.
And the whole reason Golden Eagle brought this out is strictly for our customers, to educate them so that they understand not just the Golden Eagle portion, but other aspects of the building process, whether it be the financing end of it, or the heating system that has to go in to heat the home, and all the mechanical things that go along with the house.
That's such a great point. We also want to stay on the cutting edge, which is something that we always pride ourselves in, is we don't want a home where the items included in your home were popular 10 years ago, right? We want the stuff that's going to be popular in 5 years. We're already ahead of it. And bringing in all these experts allows us to stay on that cutting edge.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah, like when we had the Birch rep, Derek, on for the cabinets, and he was talking about the future things or things coming up, the trends and stuff like that. It really helps our customers then see what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, when you're building a new home, you want to make sure you've got the latest and greatest, right? And that's going to be a great resource, probably the best resource for somebody looking to build a new home and wants the latest, greatest. Go there. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
So this brings us to number 8, the time that we barged trusses across Lake Minnetonka.
That house was a tear down.
Yep.
So the property is one like a peninsula, and it's a recreation, like the community around the house, fairly tight setbacks. So we weren't able to access the job site with a semi like we normally would. So the only way to get the trusses there was to barge them across the lake, which was amazing. If you've seen the video, it's just like there's nothing stopping those Golden Eagle guys.
Land, sea, air, water, whatever it is. Yeah, we're getting your materials to the job site. Yeah, I mean that lake is kind of one of maybe the older lakes in Minnesota. It's been built on, and there's houses behind houses. So the access to this property was essentially a driveway. The road was a driveway essentially. So in a tight corner, and had to get down there, another tight corner, and there's no way we're getting these 30-foot trusses down there. So yeah, the truss manufacturers showed up. Zach, you were there that day. That was a fun day. The truss manufacturers showed up at the landing where the barge company was. He unloaded those trusses right onto the barge. It took about I think 45 minutes to an hour to get all the way across the lake to the job site, and then they were able to. It looked like one of those U-boats pulling right up to the shore. The trap door fell down, and the contractor was able to unload those trusses with a telehandler. Wow. So basically, just breaking them down a little bit, he was able to reach out there, pick them up, swing them in, and set them down. So it actually worked very slick. I mean, granted, that was the only way to get those in there, but it really wasn't as complicated as you may think. But it was certainly cool to see that drone work he did.
And that home is really coming together. I was just there a few weeks ago, took some photos of the inside, and the timber trusses are all up. The drywall is installed. They're just working on putting the interior doors in, the trim work. It's going to be an incredible home to feature. I look forward to being back out there pretty soon.
Yeah. Chris, you mentioned the property. I went out there to visit them to just kind of get a feel of the property and the project, and it's spectacular. That point comes out to basically nothing, and you have water on both sides. The current home, we're kind of matching the finishes that are on the current home that's there. They call it the guest house or the lake house, and man, it's just the water is right there. It's just it's unbelievable. You can't. You probably couldn't rebuild. You couldn't probably build that from new. So a teardown made sense for this project to put it as close as it is to the water. And, we're pretty apt at dealing with that stuff, dealing with lake home properties for sure.
Yeah, so a lot of people might not be aware, but like in the state of Wisconsin, if you tear down your original house and keep a certain square footage of the original build, then you don't have to abide by the new setbacks regarding distance to land. Distance from water to the property. So it's common that people want to do a tear down so they don't have to change the setback and the water's right there.
You'd be right there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And we have one going in Alaska. You know, we had a project going in Alaska, and John, I know you were in shipping at one point. Have we sent it across like in containers as well?
Barge.
Across
We have.
the ocean.
Yep. The first home we did up in Alaska, some of the, like your cabinets, your windows, stone, stuff like that, we shipped up actual shipping containers through the ocean liners. And then we still trucked some of it up too, all the way up through Canada. Yeah. Nothing we can't do.
Number 7, it's the Lakeside vacation home featuring the property. Again, that home was designed specifically for that property.
I think out of all the build properties, this is probably the most amazing piece of property because it's on a peninsula. The main house has views to both sides of the water, but then there's a jetty that goes out to, it's a peninsula, so I can't call it an island, but an expanse of land. I would see, the customer maybe making a fire pit out on that expanse of land.
No, yeah.
And the house is geared to entertaining. The front entrance has a curved half-round door that just, to me, echoes the 1930s. If you don't pull up to that house and feel the pressure relief of the city life and really get into that up north mode, it's kind of interesting. In Wisconsin, you got people from Chicago think up north is north of Madison, right? Yeah. And then you got us in the middle of the state, which is up north is anything past Highway 8. Right? So it's kind of the perspective of the person vacationing, but you can't get a better lake house than this house. That covered porch on the rear, the TV outside, you got the stamped concrete lower level expanded, area for partying, and the family room downstairs with all the gaming for the kids. It is a wonderful property.
How about that wood stove hot tub and wood stove sauna?
Yeah,
That's really
That
nice.
is unique.
And,
Very
and,
unique.
Zach mentioned that as a cold plunge.
Yeah.
This cat ain't cold plunge.
They actually do cold plunge with it.
Did you do it when you were there?
I didn't when I was
You
there.
didn't do it, no.
We were all business. Luke and I were working hard the whole time. But it's a fun place to be. You touched on it perfectly, Chris. It is relaxing when you're there. And even the home decor inside, the way it was done, it really is designer forward, right? It doesn't seem like an old traditional cabin. It's got a great blend of industrial and modern. The selections were incredible in that home, and there's just so much great natural light. Brightening up a home like that, I think it adds to the essence of it being a peaceful location.
Yeah, it was warm and inviting. I mean, even though there were some darker colors in the metals and stuff, still she used lighter colors in like the bedrooms and stuff. It still was warm and inviting and cozy, I thought.
I love the color palettes in that home. Yeah, Deb. I mean, I think the cabinets were a shale color you mentioned in the video, and then how every room kind of had that similar color in it. Whether it was the tile in one of the bathrooms or the tongue groove or shiplap was painted that color. I mean, everything you could just tell
She
was
kind of
well
pulled
thought
it
out.
and pulled it into each of the rooms and areas and stuff. Yeah, it was really well done.
Then you add the timber stairs with the wrought iron railings that go up, and with the timber trusses and all that timber beams that had on the ceilings that really just brought it all together. Also had the extra wide great room. That great room was like like 30-foot width. It really made it spacious in there.
Yeah.
Something I would do on my next tile shower project would be to have a feature wall like what they did.
I know.
They did that on
that
every
was very
shower.
nice.
Every tile,
Great.
I know. I didn't know how to convey that, but that's a great way. An accent wall in your tile shower. Yeah. Yep.
I thought they did a great job with just accent walls throughout the whole house. I
Yes.
mean, the bedrooms had unique, textures in them and stuff. All the way down to the bar downstairs where they had the stone wall where they displayed the wine on there. They did a really good job there. But I think Chris hit it perfect with that front door. That, to me, that house, the front porch, just screamed inviting to me. That was a really nice design for that house.
Even that detached garage just takes you back to, the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That type of lake home. And it's an absolute gorgeous house. That island and the countertops. I like the complementing countertops. You had the lighter countertop on the main L shape of the kitchen, and then the bar had that dark
one.
slate or whatever granite it was. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think he said it was 1,600 pounds.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, looking at that, just the extra engineering that went into that floor system to be able to support that, it's just amazing that, you're looking at that kind of weight on a floor system.
Yeah. Jan, you mentioned how big that great room was.
Yeah.
And, one thing I liked is, and I've always liked when designing homes, is those larger patio doors. So giving you that extra width allows you to go to those 8-foot patio doors.
Right. Instead of 6 foot.
Instead of 6 foot. Because really, technically, I've got 6 foot and 8 foot in my house. And it's like that 6 foot patio door, you technically don't get that 3 foot width when you open it because you got to stop
So
short.
it's so much easier taking larger furniture in and out or whatever you've got.
Yeah, you got to make sure that handle basically on that patio door doesn't hit the stationary panel, so you don't get that full width. So the 8-foot door makes it much easier to move things in and out. Plus more viewing area, obviously. So
Yeah.
more glass, more natural light, all that good stuff. Some of those exterior features too that I liked was the Western roof,
Yep.
which also created an extended rake. But then also the double fascia, just those little things that add, a little extra shadow line, a little extra appeal, a little extra interest to that home. And I think, Chris, you mentioned maybe something about the timber trusses on the backside too.
Yeah.
You really like?
Yeah, that double fascia was mimicked in the timber truss. The main timber truss on the rear porch has like a double top cord on it. And it just mimics that double fascia all the way around the house and ties it in perfectly.
Yeah.
And very clean. The timber truss and the beamwork on that house are put together just flawlessly. It is a beautiful execution of a timber house.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those little details, that's some of the benefit of working with us here at Golden Eagle is, coming up with those unique little design aspects that maybe not everybody thinks of, and we point out to the customers, and, we see areas that, hey, this could really enhance this. And
Yeah, that happens a lot here. We've done so many homes. It's nice to build on synergy from other customers' homes. A customer will come in and kind of explain to you what they're thinking, and you're like, you know what, we did it on this house. Justin was just designing a house last week with a customer, and we had a very large garage where he had for RV, right? For an
RV tractor.
And then we had a clear story sauna area on a house that we were doing in a different area of the country. And we were able to take that clear story concept and incorporate it into the RV garage. And it makes the RV garage a separate entity to the home attached to it, but it doesn't make the expanse of the garage look like it's so huge. It really pulled it off extremely well.
Yeah.
Well, I think, why that came about was, our plan review session that we're having on all of our designs. I mean, I walked by one the other day, Jan, I think it was for your client.
Yeah.
And I walked by, I'm like, this is great. So I did a quick video. I think it was Deb, I think it was Jan, Trevor, Todd, and Chris. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, look at all the decades of experience that this client has looking at their plan right now to making sure that they get the best design possible. That's definitely one of the benefits of Golden Eagle.
Yeah, and that's just it. The whole point is, our goal is to give the customer the best possible plan and layout and idea so that when they get done with that home, they're not going, I wish I would have done this or I wish I would have done that. It's great if we can encounter that before we start the construction on the project so that when it is done, they're going, wow, I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad that, Golden Eagle brought this up so that, we had this idea because we would have never thought of that, and it's not just one of us, it's all of us that it takes because everybody's looking at it through different eyes and different encounters with different customers that, and a lot of customers bring us these ideas that we didn't even know about, so we pick that up from customers as well.
To touch on what Jan's saying, if a new idea is brought to us, that's why it's so great to work with Golden Eagle, because we're going to figure out a solution of how that can be achieved before it's getting figured out at the job site. So we're going to make sure that it all makes sense. We're going to be able to reflect how this will financially impact the project, because that, of course, is relevant. No matter if someone says they don't have a budget, eventually you do. Or eventually they might say, I really liked that idea, but I didn't like it for the price that you're saying it's going to cost.
Right.
And then at that point, you guys may come back and say, well, we can achieve something very similar, or we've done something similar to that in the past, and it costs a fraction of the price. And usually that will achieve what the homeowner's still looking for.
Yep. And I think that rolls into number 6, the next home we're talking about.
Yeah, number 6 has one of those features.
And this home is a great example of our exposed beam homes, you know.
Our maintenance-free exposed beam.
Right.
So, that was one of the key features that this customer wanted, is they didn't want any maintenance. So that home was completely surrounded around a completely maintenance-free exterior, stone, and with our smart side siding product, we still incorporated some trusses on there for them, and it really turned out to be a really exciting house to build.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, the steel roofing, LP Smart Side products on the exterior, the facade with some nice timber trimming, maintenance-free decking, maintenance-free railing. Yeah, I think the focus was there to be able to go up to the Northwoods and relax, not have to maybe maintain the home and just enjoy it.
And to get back to Chris's point, the customer saw something that they liked on a previous job, and that's where that lower level entrance came from. Because didn't they actually stay at one of our dealers up in Michigan where they liked that lower level entrance where she uses it as an Airbnb? So the customer is able to draw from our experience and some of the things we've done in the past and incorporate that into their home.
And Justin, I'm sure you brought up exposed beam because it is an alternative to a traditional timber framing. And we're able to achieve a similar look, if not the same aesthetic.
Right. That's what I was getting at. Yeah, we have our ultra custom timber series, but you can get a very awesome, spectacular home in our exposed beam series as well. And that's probably a great example of it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, because you were involved in it, but they had more of the timber trims in like the main area of the living area, and then didn't they transition to just a simpler standard trim, still staying the same color, but kind of scaled it down like in the bedrooms and stuff like that? So that really shows the flexibility of our plans. Like a lot of people might think, well, I pick a certain package or something, and that's what I'm stuck with, but that's not the case with us. I mean, everything's truly customizable.
Yeah, they're just starting points, really.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna customize that as we move through the design and pricing process and selections process. They wanted to spend their money in the common area, I guess I would call it, of the home, the great room, dining, kitchen area, and then maybe hold back in the bedrooms or the lower level. Still turned out awesome.
One of the things I loved about that was that stone range hood. I think you said in the video, Zach, it's 15 feet tall? Mm-hmm. That's impressive. Kind of balances off from the fireplace.
And then just all the outdoor living spaces, in that home. I think there's about 1,300 square feet of decks and covered porches on the first floor. And then obviously, underneath that too, they have all that patio work. And then that fireplace, or that fire pit area was another 400 square feet, if I remember. So you got 3,000 square feet of outdoor living space. It just expands that square footage to the exterior of the home as well. I mean, they got a great view of the lake. And
well, that's why really that house was 2-part, because the outside needed its own second part.
Well,
Exactly.
And that is just so popular right now, is outdoor living. We're seeing that more and more, and we're going to get to that coming up here on the Forever Home, because that's got the ultimate of all times outdoor living area. But the modern lake home that we did last year that we filmed had the great outdoor living area. That's just becoming so much more popular. So
Yeah, in the Rustic Lodge, they borrowed that step down rear deck off of the lake house to not obstruct their view of the lake with the folks that are outside in the seating area, which was
a
an
good
awesome
idea.
idea.
Yeah.
The one room I thought was unique was that, was it like a wine/safe room that they had hidden behind that safe door? That was kind of a neat little feature, I thought.
Well, of course, I love the aesthetic of that copper penny roof that they had. They had a lot of great metal elements throughout that home. The fireplace under that covered porch outside, and everything was so well lit in the home. Luke and I are always, when we do these home tours, we get there before sunrise, leave after sunset, and a lot of times we get some beautiful B-roll of the sun coming up and setting. And when a home is lit, just as that one was, it really pops.
yeah.
And it was all controlled through the phone. So you don't need to run around the house, turning on all these light switches. They can dim everything appropriately, creates a real comfortable atmosphere. If you're out at the fire pit,
Right.
you don't have all these bright lights shining on you, but you still have the home beautifully lit if you're out on the boat on the lake.
Yeah. Oh, I just could imagine that home from the lake probably looks spectacular.
Yeah.
Sure is, yeah. Okay, so that brings us to our next item on the list. Number 5 is the 17,000 square foot, our luxury estate. You know, we could talk about this all day long and all night long, so everybody's can put their own 2 cents in as we go through this. But, you know, my major comments on this home was the contemporary style that it was.
You know, that house was really designed well from a scale perspective on the room sizes. Even though it's an expansive area, and I think you can feel it in the videos when you come in. You walk into that foyer and there's quad posts supporting the house, right? 4 10 by 10 timber posts, but they don't feel out of scale. No. And you're never, when you're in one of the rooms, you're never in a room where you're like, man, what a bunch of wasted space. There's no wasted space in that house. The scale of the kitchen, the island, the ideas on that dining room, having the sliding, multi-panel sliding doors that tuck into walls, and you go from the island into the dining room, and then right off the dining room is that 4-season room, 2-story 4-season room with a beautiful wood-burning fireplace in there. The bedrooms above, the bedroom suite above opens up with windows into that 4-season area where you could
And
open
that
up.
breeze will come all the way through that whole thing.
Yeah, after
Just
after
awesome.
the multi-panel door going into the dining room, there's a multi-panel door beyond the dining room opening that area up to nature. And it's just, the more you look at those videos, the more you see.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of great ideas can our future customers pull from there? They're everywhere in that house.
You talked about size, and it's just hard to fathom how big that home really was. I mean, it was 17,000 square feet, keep in
Right,
mind. But
right.
I mean, that great room was 30 by 32, I think we mentioned. But you're right; it didn't feel like it was a bunch of wasted space. They did a great job designing.
Yeah.
You know, that fireplace was a huge wall of stone. I think it was 13 by 17 feet. But they did some inserts in there, or some insets, you know, to create some depth and dimension and create some shadow lines in there. And same thing with the stone on the exterior too. It just wasn't flat stone. They created some insets in there and created some jogs to give it some more curb appeal.
That fireplace took 3 masons 6 weeks to lay that stone,
Is that right?
just for this fireplace.
Wow.
And they did a good use of space. So when you came up to the house, it's got a very large 2-story, 2.5-story covered porch entry, but there's a balcony on the 2nd floor. So that space wasn't wasted. And in that balcony area, there's kind of a interior balcony, and then you walk into the exterior balcony where the teak hardwood or flooring was, exterior flooring. And in that interior balcony, there's 90-degree glass windows in the corners. And it just, every corner, every time you stick your head through a door, there's another detail to notice in that house.
I mean, on the exterior, those big expanse of roof that would be on that home, they put a lot of dormers on there, and it actually kind of reminds me of the lodge at Old Faithful. I swear they took inspiration from that. I can't confirm that, but I swear it was. But yeah, to your point, Chris, yeah, you know, it didn't feel out of place. Yeah.
No. I like the turrets on that house, how they used those and the lighting they had in those and how the rooms were. Those were really unique.
There was just so many things on that home that we could just talk about all day long, but it was a project without a doubt. Even like the sunken garage, they sunk the garage to give it a taller wall height inside. I mean, that's just unique. You just don't see that. That had the garage doors that actually tilted out, you know, rather than, you know, instead of going up and down, they actually tilted out. So, I mean, that was very unique on something that I've never seen before.
Yeah, and that garage in their RV stall, they incorporated a drive-through capability. So the driveway wraps around the back of the house, and they can drive the RV through the garage instead of having to back it up, you know, into the garage.
I think one of the coolest moments in that video was when you open the master bathroom door, Zach, and just with that bathtub with, you can look over into the other room. I know my wife was watching the video and she's like, oh my God, I love that. That was like a really wow moment for that house.
It was really nice to just have a dedicated suite on the end of the home There were plenty of accommodations for guests. They host family there all the time. So there's a great bunk room for all the nephews and nieces and grandkids to stay and all that stuff. And there's this great ladder going up to this big catwalk area. Do you guys remember the catwalk?
Yeah, that catwalk was
That
awesome.
was cool.
It was cool.
Yeah,
Yes,
really
for
neat.
Sure.
And it's such a great perspective to be able to see the intricacies of all this timber work come together. Because how often are you that close to all these grand timbers and the metal work?
You know,
It was
where
just
all the
stunning.
valleys and everything all came together up there into that ridge beam. It was just wow. You know?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think the timbers had a modern twist to them as well. You know, we talked about the modernness of, I guess, of this home. You know, I would say they were maybe more simplified than some of the other stuff we've done. You know, it was just the two big verticals that came down. The metal was structural in that home. But then that kind of emulated the glass on the exterior. Those two big verticals came down. Your eye kind of follows that as you look through the great room gable end. I thought that was kind of neat.
It was so many. Yeah, nine bathrooms, and you know that home could probably sleep 40 people comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a lot of home.
Yeah, every bedroom in that house had an ensuite. Just think how convenient that is for the guests that are coming to
Right.
stay with you, that they have a own dedicated ensuite for their use.
I mean, the curved turret, you know, matches the curved or the barreled ceiling in that screen porch. I thought that was kind of cool. They did a lot of curved features there, or arch features, you know, which was also featured above the fireplace, like I
Yeah,
mentioned.
they carried that through.
Yeah.
It was great.
And when, you know, it's common in Wisconsin for us to utilize the lower living area, or we like to call it a walkout basement, right? That living area in this home we're talking about now, you would not think that that was a lower level living area. It probably shows to what level you can bring that living area to. The bar was phenomenal. I mean, it has a better bar than you see in most bars.
Yeah.
And just that lower level, I think, is impressive. It's got their if I remember right, it has a theater room down there, a very large, like, pit conversational area, and some gaming for the kids. It even has a barn door to keep the noise and the ruckus
Right.
in
Yeah.
the lower level.
They
so
could
it
have
doesn't
quite a
disturb
Christmas
people.
party down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
sure.
They could have quite a Christmas party and not even know people are there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think they even had, didn't they have like a turret downstairs where there might have been a cigar lounge type area off the bar?
Yeah, there was. That's exactly right. Yeah, just outside that bar area.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was in the video, but it was a very cool area.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was just so much to see. We really could have spent, so much more time on it. But the scale of everything, when you watch me walk around the exterior of that home, you get a sense for just how large the home is. And I think the incorporation of stone with wood speaks to a great opportunity for a lot of our home designs. It really breaks it up, especially when you've got homes as large as that one is. It gives more scale and dimension to the home. It doesn't look like just one large wall, and adds a lot more interest.
Right.
Yeah. Well, moving on to number 4. This video was maybe a little bit shorter than some of ours, but it has certainly been very popular. And that is the concrete log and timber video that has come out in the past few months. It's a great way to have that log and timber look, but lower the maintenance on that home. I believe that one featured the timber facade, the hand-hewn timber facade. I think, Jan, that was your client, right?
Yeah. What's really cool about this is it's a log siding exterior. So again, it's a maintenance-free product for customers that might be looking for a maintenance-free option, but yet still have the log look. So, and what's neat about this is the product is made right here in Wisconsin Rapids, right by our Golden Eagle headquarters. But anyway, this particular product was a hand-hewn flat timber siding with the bigger, wider corners on it. And then we incorporated some maintenance-free shakes and stone on the exterior, so it's a completely maintenance-free outside.
Yeah, I think it had maintenance-free decking. Obviously, then the windows aren't maintenance-free in the exterior because they've got Pella's aluminum-clad windows, so they got the aluminum cladding on the exterior. Maintenance-free railing, yeah.
I think one thing we overlook when we talk about this concrete siding is it's not just maintenance free, but it works really well if you're building out west in like a higher fire zone as well. That's where I've sold it before, where customers want that timber look, that wood look, but maybe don't want, can't get wood on the exterior of the home. So this serves as a good option for that, in those areas.
Yeah, that was originally the idea behind offering it, was for the forest fire regions out west that the municipality code was non-combustible exterior facades, which lent itself very well to this product. On this specific house, I think they even spaced the siding apart, gapped it,
And put chinking
overgapped
in.
it so they could chink it to get a more authentic log home look. Again, another great house built on a peninsula.
Yeah,
Right?
beautiful site.
And
That
it's
was
a lake home, so it's got 2 feature walls, so 2 big glass feature walls, so they could see both sides of the peninsula, so to speak.
So when Zach filmed this, this was just under construction. It was far from completed. So this is going to be a knockout house. It's definitely going to be one of our popular videos coming out this next year when they get the interior finished, because this is going to have an all timber interior. So lots of timber trusses and valley beams and stuff inside. It's going to be pretty awesome.
And I think on this house, they incorporated some solar on the roof as well, right?
They did.
And I believe the video said that they can, it's not off-grid, but the solar array is large enough to support the electrical needs of the home if they had lost power at any time.
Well, I look forward to featuring that home soon. That'll be incredible when it's completed. We had a terrific guest visit us, and I think that makes our number 3 on the list. That was Matt Reisinger, and he is someone that I've been following for years on YouTube, because this guy is all about introducing new technologies in home building. And also, I really appreciate how much he values things being done right and really well done. So when he wanted to come visit us here at Golden Eagle, of course, we welcomed him with open arms, and he just geeked out over what we're doing here. It was awesome to take him behind the scenes on a manufacturing tour. He was really impressed with what he saw. He did a dedicated video on his channel, and then we threw one together on our channel while we had him here. This is one of the great opportunities for having a studio like what we have here today. We could have brought him in the studio.
Right.
And Matt suggested that to us. He was really impressed when speaking with you guys and Chris, and he said, it'd be great if we could sit down and have a podcast right now. So you guys should get a studio together. And that's what kind of gave birth to this idea of all of us coming together. So I think it's very fitting that we've got Matt as number 3 on the list. And it really felt like a great testament to what we're doing here at Golden Eagle when Matt gave us a huge endorsement.
Right. Yeah.
And he really was a really nice, a decent guy. A lot of fun to talk to. He had a lot of knowledge. And he was, he really didn't know a lot about log and timber homes. So he was educated while he was here. And when he was looking at, for instance, our flashing systems and how we do our, he was like, this is incredible. How did you guys ever come up with this? And it's just years of experience that over the years that we learned to do this, and it's the right way to do it.
I think something where we shine is that a big part of our background incorporates being flexible for builders, but also being able to be a great support system for the build crew as a home is under construction. And I think Matt was able to recognize a lot of those principles. He had visited one of the premier job sites that we've got going on, and he was incredibly happy with what he saw happening behind the scenes. And this is stuff before drywall goes up, before wall finishes goes up. He sees the details. He sees our engineered plans. He met with our support team. And as a builder himself, it was something where he looked at that and saw, wow, these guys are holistic in what they do. It's not just customer facing, it's also toward the builder and all the support that happens behind the scenes. So as a builder himself, it was really cool for him, I think, to be able to see just how Golden Eagle, we're so much more than just the YouTube videos and the tours. We've been doing this since 1966, over 6,000 homes, and that experience really, really showed.
Yeah. I mean, we know how great we are. We know how much blood, sweat, and tears we put into each home. And it's great to see somebody with Matt's knowledge and background to to recognize that as well.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I look at it. I mean, he was, you know, he looked at those builder plans and he's like, these are as good as I've seen anybody, you know, provided anywhere. You know, I could definitely build this house, you know, based on these plans.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that impressed him was that we have a dedicated staff, a builder hotline. So if the builder has questions, they can call in directly to technical support people, and we can field that question up front instead of getting routed around within an organization. And also the ability to sit down with the builder, the homeowner, and go through their complete finalized engineering plans and show them exactly where every detail is applied to the house, what kind of hold downs are being installed in the foundations, what kind of shear walls are in the house, where the shear walls are located, what to look for when they're out at the job site, you know, what fasteners and tie downs does the foundation contractor need to incorporate in the foundation, so that none of these little details are missed and can cause a problem later on in the progress of the site build.
We just had some builders fly in. Was it from Pennsylvania, John?
Correct. Yep.
And they saw our showroom. And he said, we were trying to source this for the longest time. We couldn't figure out how to get it, where to find it. Eventually we figured it out, but you guys had it all along. Yep. We wish we would have known. And Chris tells them, yeah, I've got a speaking relationship with them. They reach out to me every year because they only harvest so much. And that's what makes it so great to come here. And for those builders, when they've got homeowners that have interests in certain products, maybe they're obscure products or really unique, one of a kind, we're the ones that take care of it. You know, we figure it out, we find it, we help them with all those selections. And it relieves the builder because it allows them to really focus on their craft, you know, making sure everything is assembled really well, and, you know, they can have everything lined up for the job site. We guarantee that the materials will be delivered on a appropriate time basis and as they need it, just in time.
And it just helps them build probably another project that year, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what their point was. How much time do they spend trying to shop for that one product where they could have been bidding another project or lining up the next work, you know.
And a lot of these projects are being built in rural areas, you know, that where these vendors aren't readily available. So to physically go and visit all of these different vendors would take them weeks or months to try to put all of these selections together that Deb, Dale, and Zach do on a daily basis, really.
Right.
Yeah. I've driven around those western states, and, you know, you're in the Colorado Rockies, you don't come across hardware stores. Right. And even if you're in a populated area and there is a Lowe's and a Home Depot, all that stuff, when I see it, it's ordinary. It's plain Jane.
Yep.
Doesn't spark my interest, I can tell you that. But when you come through here, I mean, your imagination's just going. The things that you can do, pulling all this stuff together, is pretty cool what we have to show here.
So I think that brings us to number 2, the farmhouse. Speaking of unique things.
Exactly, very fitting.
I think you were the salesman on this one, right, Justin?
Yeah, this home turned out pretty awesome. It looks like nothing we've done before, you know, with the gray exterior, a lot of the gray tones and whites on the interior. It was really something very unique. It was a full log home. It was technically a full log home, 10-inch full log, hand-hewn exterior, dovetail corners. But the full log didn't stop at the house. It went into the garage as well. So the garage, instead of maybe being framed walls, frame construction, he has full log walls on his garage. So he wanted a true, authentic, full log home, and he got it.
I think the timber layout on the ceiling, when you're up in that loft, is just beautiful, seeing all that stuff come together. It's stunning. It actually does remind me of some previous designs we've seen where you've got the contrast of darker timbers with a lighter ceiling finish. So for me, the light ceiling finish, it's more muted. It's not busy whatsoever. And then you got the dark timbers that really shine. They're the ones that catch your attention. So there's a great balance of interesting features in this home with that corrugated steel that was pulled out of a barn on the property. So that's very interesting. We've got that beautiful, the beautiful cabinetry with all these, more of a like an heirloom finish, you know, worn edges.
I think the video was nice because it showed that we are in touch with kind of what's popular right now is modern farmhouse, and the grays and the blacks and the metals, and that all incorporates, and it shows that we're up on that trend right now, and we can do that, not just the like to say the browns and other colors that log homes are used specifically,
Like natural colors and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, that's what really popped out when I saw this. I'm like, I couldn't wait to see it because I knew it was going to be something spectacular and something like I said, something we've never done before. Boy, it has really taken off for sure.
One thing I'd point out in that video that probably gets overlooked is how thoughtful you guys were when laying out like the windows. And I think you pointed it out, Zach, like the windows in the kitchen, stacking that transom so it kind of mimicked the cabinetry, the use of single hung, double hung, and casements that you weren't impeding on a view in a certain direction, but then also not opening the window out onto a porch on the front of the house where, it was a shallower porch. So I thought that was very unique in the fact that that thought process went into it for the customer, because most customers aren't going to think of that kind of stuff. And if you go to a supplier and say, we need to order windows for the house, they're probably just going to quote one kind of window. Here you go. That's your window. But you guys actually thought through all those different scenarios for them.
Years ago, we had a customer that took the stair going into the lower level, and they built in a wine cabinet underneath there in glass, and that was beautiful. Where this house took advantage of that area as like a kid's reading nook, maybe for my children, it probably would have been a timeout zone. But also the Craftsman roof. The Craftsman roof that we put over top of the garage door just adds another unique dimension to the home. It adds depth to that wall. It just was a feature in that house that really tied, I think it really tied the timber together.
So that finally brings us to the number one.
Anticipation has been building.
And that is the forever home. So there's a lot to discuss about this. And it's, wow. Let's start with the outdoor living. So many cool things on that this home offered on the exterior.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about that, how much square footage is really in this home. I think on the YouTube video, it mentions 14,000 square feet. And that's the first floor is about 3,500, I believe. The lower level is 3,500 square feet. So there's 7,000. So that leaves 7,000 square feet in outdoor living spaces and the garage. But yeah, that Solana was spectacular. It was unbelievable.
That leads to a fire pit that they've got just a beautiful fire pit out there to enjoy with the family. And I can just imagine being out there in the summer. Wow, it's just a cool spot.
Well, one of the popular videos that we had out there for a reel was the pull-out stair. We sure got a lot of traction on that. I had people reaching out to me that didn't even know Golden Eagle had social media accounts. Then they came across that, and these are people that I had gone to school with 15, 20 years ago. Hey, I saw you on YouTube and Instagram with this pull-out stair video. That went viral.
Yeah,
people loved it. There was a misconception that they thought, well, why not just put a door on the side of the pull-out stair? Well, it didn't work like that. If we were able to get more in-depth with these reels, you'd see that there is actually spancrete above or to the side of that room. And then everything was a backfilled foundation. There's a garage at the top of the stair. There just simply wasn't access to put a door there. So this pull-out stair storage was perfect for the homeowners to be able to store extra building materials that they probably won't ever need to use, but there are a few extra bundles of tile, extra trim samples, stuff like that. So it'd be very rare if they'd ever need to access that stair, but why not make use of that storage?
Honestly,
That
I have
was
that
neat.
same exact situation in my house, and it's all dead space for me.
Yeah.
I wish I
thought it
would have
was
seen this
neat.
earlier.
Yeah, I thought it was unique when I saw it. I was like, that's a
Yeah.
really cool idea to do with your stairs.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned people saw you on YouTube for the first time because of this video. I had the same situation. I wasn't in the video, but with the dog room. My brother-in-law was up from Georgia, and I was showing him the video. I'm like, you got to see this video. It's gone viral. And he's like, that's your video? That's crazy. He's like, I saw that and shared it with my friend. He's like, I didn't even know it was Golden Eagle.
Yeah, there's a dedicated dog grooming area, which you'd have to watch. There are 2 tours of this home, the 10-minute tour as well as the 40-minute in-depth tour. And the 40-minute tour is phenomenal. You see that dog room that you were talking about, but then there's the dedicated pet grooming area, and they've got a tub that the dog can get into, and then the tub lifts up so that the homeowners don't need to bend over when bathing the dog. Nice. There's so many great features. Let's talk about the lighting on that home.
Wow. Yeah.
Just as you pull up to the home, those incredible timber craftsman style trusses, those are all lit up in the portico. So the covered approach on the home. And then we see that as you wrap around the covered porch and head to the solana with all those timbers. It's just beautiful in that space. We've got wall sconces applied to the vertical timber supports. And then there's a lot of uplighting that's hidden. I love it when there is indirect lighting in a home, when you can't visually see the light source. And as we work our way into the home, your eye just gravitates up. And it's incredible to see that light now bouncing up off the ceiling, and you don't see where that light came from. It's a very well lit space.
Well, a
There's
great
so much to
example of
take
that
in.
is that vanity top, the vanity that's lit underneath.
Yeah, I walked into that home when it was under construction, and the wiring, like, how could anybody know what goes where? I mean, there was as wide as you can wrap your arms around strands of wire coming down into a chase.
Yeah, I want to say that house has 800 amp service.
Wow.
I mean, most houses you're talking 200, 300.
Yeah.
I believe that house had 800 amp service.
It's got 4 panels.
Yeah, and there's 4 in the garage. There's 2 more downstairs.
Okay.
And then they have over 200 smart switches that integrate to the smart home to allow them to do schemes of lighting. So they can do different schemes based on the time of day. They can do different schemes based on entertaining. They can do different schemes based on as they drive into the home. The system will recognize whose vehicle's coming in, and it can set the lights for whatever way they normally come into the home to light up. It's endless when you think about the integration in that house as far as the lighting goes.
And if you think about it, it also supports the idea of aging in place. There are a lot of subtle things done in this home, whether it's just for wheelchair accessibility or if a walker was ever needed someday. And we'll touch on the elevator in a second and the zero barrier access. But going back to what Chris was saying about the lighting, you don't have to, you ever go into a more elderly person's home and it's kind of dark? Because they're not going to go around and find all the light switches and turn everything on. Well, with this home, everything is more automatically supported. So there are motion sensors. As you go through the hallway, the lights come on. And it's a beautiful gradient as they come on. It's a subtle support of the lighting in the home. And then lights will turn off after a certain period of time where there isn't any motion. Of course, with the one click of a button, all the lights can come on, as Chris was saying. So a lot of people don't think about that, but that's a great way to support someone as they're aging in place. Of course, the most obvious feature is the elevator.
Yeah.
How great is that? They said that their grandkids love the elevator. It's like the first thing they want to do when they go over. And I think another great thing about aging in place is you don't necessarily notice that it's a home centered around accessibility. So a home that is absent of steps from the garage into the home or heading out into that solana, it's just it's an easier space to live in, whether you need it or not.
Right.
And same with that elevator. If you're moving stuff up and down, who wouldn't rather take the elevator than carry big items down the stairs?
What I thought was awesome about the selection of interior door used was the majority of the interior doors in the house are 3/4 glass. They're 8 foot tall, they're 1 3/4 thick, but it's 3/4 glass with a privacy glass, like a heavy water glass in it. And it just lets light filter through from the bedrooms to the hallways, from the main living areas to the hallways. And they even have some interior transoms that one of them is into the U-shaped stair, timber stair, that is adjacent to an exterior wall window that lets light into their ensuite's laundry room. And one is above the tub in the powder room and lets light from the foyer into that powder room. So it's a really unique use of glass paneling on the inside of the home to share light from different living areas.
I love that fireplace. That double-sided fireplace. I mean, first of all, being able to see it from the exterior, from the outside and interior. But the idea that it being raised, so it's easier to load. And now being double-sided, you can keep your wood outside. It's a wood-burning fireplace, obviously. So you keep your wood outside, you can load it from the exterior and then come back in and light it. You don't have to bring the mess inside.
Right.
It's awesome.
One very unique feature in the home that the owner challenged us with was, how do I access all of the utility work in the home in the future? You know, something happens with some wiring, or we need to pull some more wiring in the basement. How are we going to go about that? It's obviously a huge house. So they did a beamed coffered style ceiling, and then the reclaimed pine panels between the beamwork is actually removable, so that we created a system where you can push up on it, slide it one way, and it drops down, so that if you know, a plumber needs to do some work, or a HVAC guy needs to do some work, he can access those utilities very easily and not disrupt the finish of the home.
That was really a cool option for sure.
Another neat thing about this project was that they're repeat clients. So they actually had previously built a Golden Eagle with us. And we did a build series on this home. So Todd touches on that in the first episode, how they built with Golden Eagle about 20 years ago. And one of the things that they told us was they wanted to be carried out feet first out of this home. So they really did want it age in place, as we touched on earlier.
Yeah.
But also, budget wasn't nearly as much of a concern with the project. They just wanted it to be right for them. And the homeowners were incredibly involved with all the selections in this home, especially the cabinetry design. And what an incredible kitchen that was, with the double islands, beautiful wall cabinets around the perimeter of that kitchen, and then the incorporation of just the best appliances you could think of. I think there were 4 ovens.
Four ovens, 72-inch refrigerator. Everything in that kitchen was down to the details on where things were placed, the details of maybe the width of the stiles, or the width of the doors, depth of the drawers, even the hardware. You can see the hardware in the cabinets. There's 3 different sizes, I think, on it. So if it's a larger piece, a larger cabinet, there was a larger handle, smaller handles on the drawers or whatever. But it was, and the customer was really involved in the detail and working with us on what they wanted in their kitchen.
And that's what makes it perfect for them.
Yes.
It was a home absolutely custom designed for them. They were integral in the design, but just as Chris said, they would then task us with projects. You know, obviously they're coming to us with the answers, right? They want us to make sure that everything is going to get built according to our specs, and that the project is we're going to take it up an extra notch. And for us, it certainly was a showcase feature. I'm so grateful we had that build series on it, where someone can go and see how it all came together.
Yeah.
Because as much as many out there love watching those finished home tours, there are people like us, as well as our actual clients, they want to see how it all came together. And it was just such a great opportunity to be able to visit that job site regularly.
Yeah, I think I get a lot of compliments from people saying, I love how you guys go through the details. You know, a lot of people just breeze over the home when it's completed, but you guys really dig into the details, how it was done, why it was done.
Now, heading into 2024, there is so much more, and I think that there are going to be great highlights that will eclipse many of these. I can tell you that I went and toured the home that has its own private airstrip. That has been a highly requested home. We've had clients that have seen photography on our website, so we were able to get exclusive access to that. There's so many great ideas there. There is even an off-grid cabin. It's completely independent. So they've got everything is solar powered, of course, and it's sequestered into these battery banks. And that home is not only is it off-grid, but also has a lot of great design ideas too. You'd have no idea if you visited it that it wasn't connected into the grid. Additionally, we have a very popular lake house model that is getting toured. What is so great about that is that it has 2 really large feature walls. So there's a lot more to come.